Hi everyone, it's Debbie here. Welcome to lesson 6 of remote learning. I hope you're all well. The sun is shining today. Maybe not the day that you watch this, but it's the day that I'm recording it. So feeling good and looking at the future and my dream holiday this week, which is lesson 6. And we're doing this to combine all the different things that we've been learning in the past 6 weeks. So if you remember, just to recap, week 1 was my plague journal, and we also were writing a notice to inform people about coronavirus regulations. Week 2, we were looking at a reading exercise on someone who had sleep deprivation and the effects that it had on him. And we were also writing our own diary entries, and a lot of you included sleep deprivation in that. Hopefully that's all sorted now and you're feeling a lot better. Week 3, we moved on to colours and senses and looking at my mysterious door, the door that you found in the woods. And I had some really interesting creative writing there, so congratulations those that did that. I really got a great feel of using emotive language, and we used similes and metaphors and all the colours and senses, like I said. Week 4, we moved on to learning about the Diary of Anne Frank, and this was relevant because it was the week of the VE Day celebrations, the victory in Europe, and we were looking at it for reading practice and to identify different things in that, such as we were looking at emotive language and idioms, again similes, metaphors. Week 5 we had last week was reading Scott of the Antarctic. Again, something that people may not have been aware of, the historic Captain Scott who conquered the South Pole but sadly died. And to do that we were looking at similarities and differences in texts and also different moods that are created. We wrote diary entries. The best diary entries I had were where one person wrote about a pessimistic mood one day, so a really miserable time, and the next day it was really optimistic, so really looking forward to the future. And so we're going to combine all that this week in lesson 6, and we're going to look at my dream holiday, so a bit of optimism for this week. So let's look at more about this task that we're going to do. So your dream holiday, I'm sure many of you would love to be in this picture right now. So yeah, just jumping on a plane and feeling that warm sunshine. And have a look at that picture and imagine if you were describing that to someone else. So it says here, what about the feeling of the sun on your skin? The wind in your hair, the soft gentle breeze, and the crunch of the sand between your toes. You could use some fantastic similes and metaphors there. And that's going to be your final task for this week. We've actually got our usual 3 tasks. There will be 2 shorter tasks as usual to build up to the main one. And then your final task will be to write 5 paragraphs describing your dream holiday. I've seen over the past few weeks that a lot of you have really good imaginations, but some of you might find it hard to describe. It's really easy to say, okay, I'm going to look around a room right now and I'm going to describe the colours, the objects, how I feel. But when you're actually sitting down to write and structure an essay, it's very difficult sometimes. So we're going to look at the best way of doing this. So let's first of all start at looking at planning. So I can't stress enough how important it is to plan before you write, and that is in anything that you do, not just in exams, but if you're writing to anyone, even an email, you must plan what you're going to write. Otherwise you just won't get the structure right and you won't get across the meaning. So spend at least 10 minutes planning before you write, and it'll be so much easier. And like I say, aim to write 5 paragraphs in the last task, and give a complete immersion of what you're feeling. So bring the reader into your story. We looked at this with our descriptive writing before, about creating that mood and really making someone feel that they're there with you. So like I say, planning, you can do that with a mind map, spider graph, bullet points. You don't have to write a whole essay to plan, you just have to do simple bullet points or a mind map. And bring in some details. Think about the details that you want to bring into it. So if you're going to talk about a beach holiday, so talk about the beach, talk about where you're staying, who you've met, and the most important thing is to describe the feelings of sunshine. And it might not be a sunny place, it might be a wintry place. That might be your dream holiday. I know lots of people that prefer going to winter destinations instead of summer destinations. So, that could be an alternative. Let's look again at our senses, the 5 senses. So we're thinking of sight, sound, smell, taste, and touch. People say there is a 6th sense, that's like supernatural, but you could bring that into that. Who knows? You could think Transylvania, where Dracula lives, is your favourite location. That's bringing in your 6th sense. Anyway, let's have a look at this picture here. Fantastic picture, isn't it? Really bright, vibrant picture. How does that make you feel? You're looking at this lemon. So think of the vibrant colour of sunshine, and the smell, very sharp smell. The taste, again, sharp, sour, bitter. Is it a taste you like? Is it a taste you don't like? The texture, think of how it feels. And also, when you cut it, what happens? It's the juice that squeezes out, and really make someone feel, that they are experiencing this with you. And to do this, it's all about the language that we use. So if you wanted, for example, here to communicate a feeling of heat, well, you could say it's very hot here. But that's not so exciting. It's not bringing your reader to where you are. So more like it, you could say a bead of sweat was running down my face, or the ice cream was melting slowly like a glacier on a hot day. Something like that. So show, don't tell. Descriptive writing. As I was saying, we need to look at structure as well. And we can look at that from, it says here, a wide shot, so a general view of things. So give an overall background to the situation and what you're doing, what you're experiencing, but then zoom in on some specific things. So what is it about that situation? So for example, it could be that you've gone into a shop. You're in a beautiful place, you've gone into a shop. Go into the detail then. What can you see? How do you feel? What's the smell there? And also it says about flashbacks. So you can create your scene, and then you can say, okay, and then to get here, you can talk about your flight, how you got to that place. What was the journey like? The journey could be really, well, hopefully don't make it traumatic, make it pleasant. We want to be optimistic this week. Let's keep it fun. And of course, our vocabulary is very important. So we don't want to use the same word all the time. So to communicate your experience, vary the vocabulary. So for example, don't just walk along the beach, stroll or saunter along the beach. Give a relaxed feeling to it. And think about how the adjectives and the verbs that you use make an impact on your reader. They affect your reader. We talked about the effect of writing before, didn't we, in lesson 3? So think about that closely. And what mood are you trying to create? You think about that. And of course, using effective similes and metaphors and any other language techniques that you like to use. Just thinking about sentence structure again, think about it in the terms of creating the tone, the mood of the place. So a long, complex sentence with different clauses, that can actually create a really slow, sleepy, relaxing feel to it, especially if you use really creative adjectives to describe that laid-back kind of feeling. Having said that, I do not want long sentences. I'm always telling you 2-3 clauses, more than enough, and then full stop. Short sentences also have a place in writing, so simple short sentences, although normally used to create a dynamic thriller effect, suspense. So it might be useful for you in this situation, but yeah, just think about the way you do structure your sentences to create mood. Finally, once you've finished writing about your dream holiday, I'd like you to check it, please. Lots of basic mistakes still being made by some people, so please, spelling, grammar and punctuation are spag. Make sure you've checked that. To do that, look at your spell checker for starters. Microsoft defaults to American spelling, so make sure that it is on UK spell checker. Also, capital letters, basics, make sure they're at the start of every sentence. Use them for your pronouns, your places, your people. And full stops to separate your sentences. It's fantastic that clauses are being used and separated by conjunctions and commas, but like I say, limit these to 2 to 3 clauses and then a full stop, start a new sentence. Discourse markers, we haven't mentioned those either actually. Discourse markers, very useful. However, nevertheless, on the other hand, finally, etc. Subject-verb agreement. I'm sending a lot of people a link to BBC Bite Size for subject-verb agreement. So make sure that your verb agrees with your subject in the right conjugation. So, for example, they were outside the college, not they was outside the college. And finally, have you kept it in the same tense? Really important. You only really use the present tense if you're talking to someone in a story. You can set it in the present, but more often than not, it should be set in the past. It's about an experience that you had. You know, it was your dream holiday. Obviously, you might include something about a little bit of future tense in there, but on the whole, it'll be in past tense. Whatever you do, make sure it's consistent. Okay, so that's it for today. Quite a short lesson today because I want you to really concentrate on this piece of writing. As I've said, there are going to be 3 tasks, 2 shorter tasks to build up to the main task. So I wish you luck with that. Please remember to hand it in. As I said, it's Word Online you open it up with and you do your work, it saves, you close it and you hand it in. Really important. And of course, this is the last week before half term. So next week, even though a meeting request may pop up, there is no lesson next week. So I hope you get time to enjoy yourselves, get a little bit of sunshine and dream of the future holiday. Okay, bye.